Into year 5 of the San Jose State Dynasty we go, where things get really exciting because we have the massive development of Brett Scacia all the way up to being the best quarterback in the nation. Genuinely, throughout my time playing this game, the best 3-star quarterback I have ever seen. And we're going to be leaning on him a lot this year because not only is he best player in the nation at his position, but the offense is kind of structured to where he's kind of the guy. At running back, we got Storm Torrance and a bunch of guys who yet to break out, yet to do much. We're going to see a little bit of Juan Caruthers this year, who was a receiver that we switched to running back to kind of fill the Jabari Bates role of an undersized pass catcher. But the offensive line is set up for him. The receivers set up for him. It's going to be a lot of passing. And then on defense, we have a lot of nice guys. We got a lot of nice players. No superstars, no, groundbreaking difference makers, but we got a lot of nice players. And the team is very well balanced. The team is very well constructed. And everything's put together nicely. Schedule this year, we're going to have it be a little bit tougher. We're going to be taking on Notre Dame. We're going to be taking on a couple of tough opponents outside the conference. And, in the last video, I kind of discussed what I should do about, stepping up to 4-star prospects. And I kind of came to the conclusion that we're going to slowly work our way up. But for this year, the parameters for us to be able to talk to a 4-star, they have to be from the state of California, where we are, of course, and we have to be in their top 5. So we're working our way up to where we're able to at least be in the conversation for some of these 4-stars, but it's going to be a slow climb because we shouldn't be able to come out here and just snag a bunch of 4-stars, 5-stars. If we take a big leap this year, which I am anticipating us to really take that next step. Like, I am... Anything less than 10 wins would be kind of a disappointment with the conference that we're in. No disrespect to the Mountain West, but you stick a 95 overall quarterback with a nice overall roster in the Mountain West, we should be able to come out here, and conference championship is the expectation. And in order for that to happen, you probably need to win like 10 games. But we have high expectations this year. And playoffs are definitely on our radar for what we're going for. And, as we continue to climb, 4-stars are going to be able to be on our board. Right now, we got 5 on our board. Obviously, you don't anticipate us to get all of them, but there's some nice players here. We got a cornerback, a tight end, a right end, a left tackle, and a middle linebacker. So a variety of positions. And as long as we could snag like 2 of them, I'll be pretty happy with that. We're going to be still competing with some really high-end schools, but if we really take that next step, we say win the conference championship again, make the playoffs, do whatever it is that we do this year, we'll probably bump it up to where we can go to pipeline players in the top 5, or we can go people in the California state, but we're in their top 10. So it's going to be a little slow progression there, but it all just depends on how we do. I mean, we could come out here and underwhelm this season, but as we move into the regular season, the week 0, week 1 recruiting and everything like that, we're obviously going to be full sending a lot of our points. And thankfully, now that our prestige is a little bit higher, we're not working with like 300 points a week. We actually get to have a little bit of points to play with. The big thing, though, that we're going to be looking for is suddenly quarterback has kind of become a more urgent need. With how we're doing this, we're not going to be able to talk players out of declaring for the NFL. We're not going to be able to talk players out of transferring if they want to leave. Anybody who wants to leave is going to be able to leave. That's what makes this more challenging. And I didn't anticipate Brett Scacia to jump up as much as he did. I was anticipating him to be like high 80s this year, and then we'd get a senior year out of him and hope he just doesn't declare. But he's a 95 overall. He's obviously going to the NFL, and I think even if we had the chance to talk him out of it, a 95 overall is probably not even going to give us the chance to talk him out of it. So he's going to the NFL. This is our last year with Scacia, which means we need a quarterback for next year, and that's going to be where we're thinking ahead. We're looking at a lot of different quarterbacks. We're going to be seeing who's on our roster now to develop. We're going to be going after seeing if maybe some 3-star freshman could be a day 1 starter, and we'll see what the transfer portal has for us. But that's going to be a big point of emphasis for us going forward. But we can't look too far forward because we have to look at what's in front of us. What's in front of us is one final year of Brett Scacia being the best quarterback in the nation. Overall, it's like he actually is the best quarterback in the nation. Of all places, San Jose State owns the best quarterback in the nation. And we're going to hope that he could come out here, take us to the promised land, and really change the course of this school, because that's what he is, potentially going to do. We had this happen in the Baylor Dynasty where one player kind of walks in, changes the trajectory of the school, and really accelerates our rebuild and accelerates our championship window. And Scatia has done that. If Scatia were just some normal 3-star quarterback who's like 80-something overall, we wouldn't be here. But we are here in year 5 with playoff expectations and hope. But I think we've talked enough about our hopes and dreams and our expectations. Let's actually get into the in-game action. Week 1 against Louisiana. The Cajuns down 21-7 here to start the 4th quarter. So the offense just 21 points on the board. It still is relatively close as they're throwing one deep. That's going to be intercepted. And immediately the San Jose State defense coming up with a big play as just 7 points allowed and now a turnover as Scatia play action. He stands at the 45-yard line. He's got time. Look at the offensive line protecting. And Scatia going long. He's got it. Touchdown. And that's Storm Torrance from 45 yards out. And that's a great start to our season. We hop in and within a minute an interception and a touchdown pass. And when we walked into this San Jose State roster situation, this team had an atrocious offensive line. It was easily the worst part of the team. And look at the offensive line on that last offensive play. That really just shows the difference. When you put an offensive line like that with a quarterback like that, dangerous things can happen. Even though we don't have a superstar wide receiver or a superstar running back, you get a good quarterback, you get a good offensive line, something big can happen. Louisiana with the touchdown there as we're still up by 14 with 6.5 to play, as that's going to be a 7-yard gain. Scatia 3rd down and 3. Screen set up. That's going to be caught. And there's Caruthers for the 1st down. He's going to be seeing a lot of playing time. It's going to be a big rotation at running back. We have Torrance as the main guy. Caruthers will be the shotgun back, kind of the pass catching specialist. We'll also have Leo seeing some snaps as a power back. So it's really just whoever is the hot hand, whoever's the guy, whoever is the one playing the best will be the guy getting the reps. And, it's an open competition there. But with Louisiana getting the football back after a punt, they got 4 minutes to play, and they're moving the football right now, and they could make this a 1-score game and make us sweat a little bit as they're going to throw a middle caught, and he's going to have it for 9 to the 16-yard line, 3:30 to play as they go in the end zone. Touchdown, and Louisiana, maybe you got to take them a little bit more seriously. It's a 1-score game. But San Jose State got the football back, block picked up. Nice job by Torrance to pick up the block, and there is a receiver wide open in the flats for the 1st down. 2 minutes to play. Handoff, that's going to be a flag, and this one is coming back, and that could lead to Louisiana getting the football with a chance to maybe get themselves to overtime. 1st and 19. Handoff, there goes Torrance. He makes a man miss, and look at Storm Torrance. He's just been such an overachiever throughout his time here as Leo gets the carry. That's going to be a gain of 3. 3rd down and 4. Caruthers in the game, but Scatia has it for the 1st down. That's Nakua, and there could be the dagger as that's going to be Torrance finishing things off with a 9-yard run. 3rd down and 1, and it's going to be a 1st down. Storm Torrance gets it done. And like I said, Torrance, such an overachiever. I mean, he is not been a high overall, high talent running back, but he's just somehow carved out a role in this offense. Scatia in the season opener, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, exactly what you would expect from one of the best players in the nation, regardless of position. Torrance, 70 yards and a touchdown. Caruthers had just 1 carry, but it went for 29, so we'll take that. He also had 5 catches, just 18 yards. Southward, who really took a big leap in the offseason, comes out as his 1st game as a starter, 98 yards, so big day there. And it's really nice to see, but, Storm Torrance is a guy who walked in, I said, number 2 running back at best. He rocked that number 2 spot, but just kind of, in some instances, by default became the starter just because we haven't been able to get a guy that we like at running back. But it's not like he's been bad. He's been serviceable. Whenever he plays, it's fine, and I would like a superstar running back, especially with the offense that we do run. Like, our offense is designed to run the football a little bit more than we do. It's just we end up passing so much because we have Scatia at quarterback, and we do have a lack of running back talent. But going forward, we might be leaning on the run game a little bit more post-Scatia. Still though, successful week 1, maybe a little closer than we would have liked, but now we're taking on a pretty tough opponent here. How about UCLA? I wanted to make sure the schedule was not just full of cupcakes. If we're going to build a resume, we're going to have to take on good opponents. Even though UCLA is 0-1, they are a really talented team, and it's on the road as well. And right now we are up 24-20 Scatia with the football. He's taking a deep drop, now stepping up, going right back, and that's just good pocket movement. He's going to throw the football away, but I mean, you could just see the little things like that where he just moves in the pocket so well and just is able to create some space for him as the defense gets a sack here on 3rd down, gives us the football back and giving Scatia the ball in great field position where he's going to deliver. And now 3rd down and 1. Handoff is going to be stopped in the backfield. Torrance couldn't break the tackle. We're going to have to punt it back to UCLA, who's got it on a big pass on the outside of the 36. And UCLA with 4.5 to play goes to the outside. That's caught, brought down, gain of 6. 3rd down and 4. Play action. They got protection. He steps up and throws on the run. That's going to be intercepted. And it's going to be taken the other way. And there we go, defense. Back-to-back weeks with a clutch 4th quarter interception as they hand it off. That's going to be a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 towards the 3rd and 7 as Scatia with the clean pocket throws. And that's going to be a tight window throw to Paul Campbell. Are you kidding me? That's an NFL throw right there, as that is Ricardo Southward now over 100 yards with that one. 3rd down and 3. There goes Leo, and Leo to the outside. One of our many running backs who gets involved as they're going to go to a little end around trickery, and there's Nakua, touchdown on the end around. You need to manufacture some running game from some other players. Well, how about get it to Nakua, who's going to get them into the 2-score lead, and now UCLA in trouble with 2 minutes to play as they need to score fast, as now 2-minute warning has hit. They're going to throw a lot of time in the pocket. That's going to be caught over the middle, and a nice little gain of 18 yards as they got to hurry back to the line. Throwing again, nice time in the pocket, and a nice grab there, up in the air. He just snagged that one from the 32, throwing on the run, and that's going to be cut. So UCLA driving in the red zone. They're going to throw outside, open man, and a touchdown. So UCLA going to at least give themselves a chance in this one, as they are going to go for 2 to make it the 3-point game. He's not going to get there, though. That's going to be brought down. Onside kick is going to be scooped up. That's DeMarco Lane with it, and UCLA has 2 timeouts, so the game not over quite yet as the handoff, and that's going to be just a 2-yard gain. Handoff once more. That's going to get stopped. No gain. Throwing for the game. Scatia has it, and Brett Scatia delivers to Paul Campbell for the dagger, and they are going to come out of UCLA with a victory, 2-0, and a big win over a very quality UCLA opponent, as that's the type of wins we want to see. As you know, we can handle teams like Louisiana, and there are some teams in the Mountain West like Air Force and other schools that are a little bit lower on the totem pole, but can you come out here against a real, power 4 school, come out here, get a victory, and show that you are able to just hang and you're not, farming bad opponents to get your resume built up. We can go undefeated, but if we don't beat anybody, then it's not going to really do all that much for us. But coming out here against the UCLA team, we'll see how we do against Notre Dame out of conference. And there is some good teams within our conference. Colorado State's pretty nice. Boise State's always going to be a challenge. And UNLV, pretty nice team as well year to year. Those are probably the 3 toughest teams that we have within our conference. But, having those 3 teams, UCLA, Notre Dame, I think it's enough to at least give us a little bit of an indication. Can we compete? Especially Notre Dame, who's a playoff caliber team. We'll see how we do against them. If we can at the very least play it close, I can't go in there expecting to win on the road at Notre Dame, but if we do, that'll be huge. And if not, can we at least show that we belong? That's going to be the ultimate test for us. I also do feel like a little shout out is warranted for Ricardo Southward, coming in. We had to replace Jackson Harris, and Southward kind of came out of nowhere in the offseason with a big bunch of development. And while he's not the same type of player Jackson Harris is, to come out here and in his first 2, official starts as like one of the guys at receiver. Him and Nakua are kind of the 2 top guys. We don't have an out-and-out number 1, but, 200 yards in his first 2 games, really impressive, and we'll see if he can kind of ride that hot streak. But, you know, him, Nakua, DeMarco Lane, if Southward actually is as advertised, we might not be falling that much in terms of receivers, as, you know, I thought losing Jackson Harris would be a lot more costly for us, but if Southward replaces that production pretty well, then we're going to be just fine in the receiving game, as this game against Air Force, like I said, you know, a few minutes ago, Air Force kind of one of the lower teams in our conference, and it's kind of being shown here, 34-6, but Air Force quarterback scrambling for a big gain. They're going to hand it off. That's going to be a touchdown for Air Force, but still 34-13. The backups are in the game for us. I mean, a 21-point lead is comfortable, but I don't know about having the backups in at this point, because it does lead to a 3-and-out. Then Air Force is going to come out here, and that was Alonzo Nix. If you remember Alonzo Nix, he was on our team. We ended up cutting Alonzo Nix, I believe, and I guess he ended up at Air Force, but they go and score a touchdown. We are now up by 14. The backups are still in. This is kind of disrespectful that we're just playing our backups. It's just a 2-score game. We could do something here, but I guess the backups get the job done. Touchdown, as that's Bradley Joy getting in on the action. And Joy, a great number 4 receiver to have, as we end up winning the game 41-20. The backups played the entire 4th quarter. It was a little unnecessary. I feel like the starters could have came in once it was at the very least a 14-point game, but I guess not, as Washington, the backup quarterback, only had to throw the ball 1 time, but it was a 23-yard touchdown, and that's going to be, you know, I guess okay. Storm Torrens, Caruthers, no one really produced in the running game. Southward, look at we might have a new star in our hands. 144 yards, 92 yards after the catch. That is impressive. Jalen Jones as well, 2 sacks. And, I mean, the team is looking great right now. We can go and play our backups in the 4th quarter of a game and still win by 21 points. It's, you know, pretty nice, especially since the only 2 touchdowns that Air Force scored was on our backups. The defense is, you know, maybe an overlooked part of this team, because we just talk about how great Scatia and some of the weapons and the offensive line has been, but this defense has really become like a legit force for this team, and we're going to see if they can, you know, continuously hold teams to these teens, 20s points per game. If you go and you hold them to under 20, I feel like we can go and beat anybody if we hold them under 20. I mean, regardless of who we're facing, Scatia can put up 20, I feel like. But, you know, we'll move on to our next game. Here we go. This is the big one. Notre Dame on the road here as we hop into the 4th quarter. It's 24-21, and we got the football as Scatia hands off. That's Leo. He's got a block, and that's great downfield blocking, and he's going to get them to the 26-yard line. 9 minutes to play. Scatia with the drop under center. He's got time. He's going to check it down underneath. There's Storm Torrance. We love getting our running backs involved in the passing game. 3rd down and 4. Scatia. He's going to look. He's got time. He's going to throw one outside. That's a diving interception. He went to Torrance on the outlet and a diving pick. And that's Scatia's first of the year. And that is not how you want to see it go down. But Notre Dame backed up on 3rd and 18 following that sack and make it 2. I don't even know if that's going to count as a sack. It was right at the line of scrimmage. But the defense holds up big. Leo with the carry. We're seeing a little bit more of him. 3rd down and 2. Go to Storm Torrance, and Torrance can't get there. That's not great vision. That's where some of the issues where Torrance is, you know, probably not a starting quality back, but, you know, he'll have his moments. 2nd down and 14 after the loss, as they're going to go. Fire went out for a 12-yard gain to set up 3rd down and 2. Sweep it out, and that's going to be stopped. Defense comes up big again. 3 minutes to play. Scatia puts the ball on the ground, and it's going to be scooped up by Notre Dame. And that could be our undoing. Notre Dame with the slant route. Middle caught for the 1st down. That's Cam Williams to the 4-yard line. They hand it off. He spins. He spins again. Touchdown, Notre Dame. And that's a 2-score lead with 2 minutes to play. Scatia, those middle. He's got it for the 1st down. Paul Campbell, we've seen him getting involved a lot in the first 4 games of the year, as they're going to throw outside. That's going to be a nice grab at Southward 4 to the 29-yard line. Got to score quickly here, as that's going to be caught again. 1st down, so Scatia moving it well. 1:30 to play. End zone! That's going to be Nakua for the score, and it's a 1-score game. Onside kick is going to be missed by 1, missed by 2, but it's picked up by Notre Dame. And now with 1:20 to go, 2 timeouts on the board. Gotta stop him here. End around is gonna be blown up. That's a 3-yard loss. Now they sweep it outside. He's gonna get the edge, and there he goes. First down and more, and that is gonna do it. A tough break for us in the fourth quarter where a diving interception and then a fumble, you know, you can maybe put that one on Scacia to say he turned the football over twice in that crucial moment, but a diving interception, that's just brutal. And he still played a nice game, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the pick was that diving one. The fumble, got to hold on to the football. That's just unfortunate, but, you know, fumbles, they can happen to anyone. I'm not going to, like, knock him so hard for that, but, you know, Southward had his quietest day. Nakua had the big day, 120. Paul Campbell, 7 for 70 he's kind of, you know, also flies under the radar. He's like a really solid tight end. You know, I think Paul Campbell has just been a mainstay player for this team, of just a consistently solid guy, but never really gets the hype or any of the recognition that maybe he deserves, because, you know, Jackson Harris will go crazy, and then DeMarco Lane will have a big game, and then now we got Southward, Nakua, you know, but Paul Campbell, he does his thing, but unfortunate, couldn't get the job done against Notre Dame, but I'm at least happy that it was a 3-point game, and, you know, a diving interception doesn't happen, and maybe it's not a 3-point game. Maybe we go to overtime. Maybe we win that game. Like, that's one of those games where it could have went either way, and I think that's ultimately what I wanted this team to prove is, can you go out there on the road against a really tough opponent and prove that you can hang with them? And we hung with Notre Dame. That's ultimately what we wanted to see. So maybe our first loss of the season, but it's not one that I'm stressing about. If we would have gotten dominated, then I'd be, you know, waving a little bit of a warning flag. But we didn't get dominated. We kept it close, and we'll just try to bounce back and move on to our next game, where we will be taking on a conference opponent, and it's a comfortable victory right here. 35-3 is your score. We're going to catch you with the highlights of this one. 4th down and 2 as Nevada with a big run. One man to beat, he gets brought down. But yeah, 35-3 over a 3-1 Nevada team. So, you know, it's all about also how you respond after a loss, or how you respond after a tough moment. And this team, you know, previous years, they would go on a little bit of a rocky run where you'd kind of be worried. You know, they'd go on a little losing streak and it'd be a little hot and cold. But this year, it looks like they're coming out swinging, as the starters oddly are in here. You know, they benched against Air Force, but the starters stayed in here. You know, I'm the coach, so I should know these things, but I guess they just wanted to play the starters there. But, you know, 7 points was all they scored. It was in garbage time for their only touchdown. 3 points the rest of the way. It was just pure domination. We didn't even have to do anything in the fourth quarter, so there wasn't really all that much to show. But Scacia, how about 4 incompletions but 3 touchdown passes? Again, didn't need to put up big stats. And how about Nakua? We give him one more end around, 50 yards and a touchdown. So Nakua, I'm pretty sure he has 2 carries for 2 touchdowns this year. But, you know, for people maybe wondering, is Scacia going to be like the Heisman candidacy? I don't know if he will when he puts up games like that. Like, yeah, good game, but, you know, not over the top crazy statistics, because he had just like 200 yards and a couple touchdowns. You know, it's going to be going to those guys who are putting up crazy numbers. And when you have him going out there and not needing to do much, well, and that's probably going to hurt your Heisman candidacy. But I don't know if we're even going to be in that conversation, because also degree of difficulty of opponent. We will also, even if we win out the rest of the way, I don't know how high of a rank we'll be. So, you know, we're not thinking of Heisman, though. We're not thinking of all that. We're just trying to focus on what we have going on right in front of us. Next game, we're here on the doorstep of a top 25 ranking, and it's going to be big to, if we can get this victory, get into the top 25. As this one, it is going to be tipped and intercepted. The first play we spectate is going to be an interception, and that is going to give us the football. 21-point lead over a 3-1 Fresno State team. The conference is coming out strong this year. 3-1 Nevada, 3-1 Fresno State, and we are taking care of business on these teams. Torrance with a run to 3rd and inches. Hand it off. Leo, touchdown. And it's 42-14 as with 6.5 to go. There goes Fresno State with a deep pass. That's going to be caught. And Fresno State with 5.5 to go, 25-yard line, is going to throw outside. Caught for the first down. He hung on, taking a hit. Into the 10-yard line they go on 3rd and 7. He's going to roll into a sack. 4th and 16 to get off the field here as he's going to throw a middle. That's caught, but not enough for the first down. And the offense taking over. Starters still in as there goes Torrance on a big run. And there goes Storm. Torrance past the 50 into the 44-yard line. And we're going to hand it off to the fullback. Why not let everyone get involved? First down to seal it. 42-14 is your score to end things off. And Torrance with that big run. About a 50-yarder. This team put up about 500 yards of offense. And if we're running the football like that, I don't know how you stop us, because how about Scacia throwing for 5 touchdowns, 300 yards, and then on top of that, Torrance for 100, Caruthers for 30, Leo for 20, Scacia for 20, everyone 5+ yards a carry, 2 100-yard receivers, because Caruthers also had 100 yards on the air, Nakua with 100 yards. I mean, everybody making plays. And like I said, if you're running the football like that, if you got that guy at quarterback and then you can go and run for 190 yards on the ground on that good of efficiency, what do you even do? And Caruthers, I said he was going to be our pass catching back specialist, where there is his breakout game catching the football. He's had some, efforts where he's gotten a couple of catches, but there's a big one, 100 yards. And I said I wanted him to be kind of that Jabari Bates replacement, really undersized. He was a route running receiver who wasn't the best route runner, even at his ceiling. So I thought, he makes a nice kind of rotation, third down, number 2 type of running back for us. And I think we might have found something there. I can't really say that he's going to be long-term starter, but hey, we'll see. We'll see how the years progress, because he still is a really young guy, and we'll see if he ends up kind of turning into a proper running back. I don't anticipate it happening at his small stature, but we'll see, as that's going to be an exciting player for the future for us. And Scacia coming out here, he's playing some crazy games right now. I mean, he has just 1 interception on the season still, I'm pretty sure, and it's just the diving pick at Notre Dame. 5 touchdowns through the air. He's consistently throwing like close to 70% completion percentage. So it's been everything coming up big for us. We'll be moving on as we're kind of hovering around that top 25 area, and getting into that spot, at the midway point in the season can give us the opportunity to climb as much as we need. There we are, 5-1 in the year, 25th in the country. And we are going to be taking on Colorado State. This is a team who was ranked last year. This was our matchup in the conference championship last year. And here they're 4-1 again. This conference is really putting up strong performances as these teams are really starting to get better. But we've been able to come out on top every single time. A sack, fumble, they recover. But we'll get the football back regardless as Leo gets to the outside, breaking a tackle. And there goes Leo for the first down and a lot more. And he's still fighting to the 35-yard line. I've seen some nice carries from him as Scacia off the play action. Got it, a dart over the middle for the first down to the 20-yard line, as they're going to go with a little end around. This time it's Southward. Usually it's Nakua, but Southward loses yards. 3rd and 13. Read option for Scacia. I guess they're content with the field goal here, and the field goal will be up and good for the full 7-point lead. Still a 1-score game as Colorado State has an opportunity. Broken tackle, spin move, doesn't get away, gets 8 still though, as on 3rd down and 2. He's gonna get stomped. Big play, and Jalen Jones comes up with it, as now Scacia off the play action, taking a shot, great throw to Nakua, and Scacia 4 touchdowns on the day so far, as Caruthers with the carry, and he's going to weave his way through for a nice gain of 10, 3rd down and inches, handing it off. Torrance got the first down, and this run game is really impressing me, as it's going to be Leo again. I got to give so much credit to this offensive line, as we're going to try to seal this game with 1 more first down. 2nd and 3, hand it off to Torrance. There he goes to the outside. He's got it, and no more timeouts as San Jose State goes on the road, takes out a tough Colorado State opponent, holds our top 25 ranking. That was one of the games that was like, man, if we're going to drop one in the conference, that was going to be the one. But the rushing game just picks up in the 4th quarter. Scacia, he did throw an interception, but 300 yards, 4 more touchdowns, about 10 yards attempt almost. Amazing stuff there. Torrance, I mean, the numbers don't look crazy, but when he got going in the key moments, it's just, that's what he does. It's so weird. He'll disappear for 3 quarters, but then in the 4th quarter, he'll just turn it on, and when we need it the most, that's when he does it. And that's, I guess, what you're asking for from a player like him, is you just want him to come up in the big moments. But Leo, also, the couple of carries that he gets, he's a tough guy to bring down. That's kind of why I put him in that power back role, and he's really thriving on his limited opportunity. So we'll kind of see how much more of him we get. But I really think all three running backs are playing up to or surpassing expectations. Carruthers is doing exactly what we want him to do, catching the football well, having some nice carries. Storm Torrance is doing exactly what we want him to do, just be safe, be reliable, and come up with some big plays every once in a while. And Leo is breaking tackles and getting through and converting these short yardage situations. So all the running backs doing their thing. Scatia doing his thing. Southward has cooled down a little bit, but it's not really hurt the passing attack because Southward cools down. Well, Paul Campbell's there. We got Nakua here. DeMarco Lane's been really quiet, and even still, at any point, DeMarco Lane's going to start picking things up because that's what he does. He'll go disappear for a couple of weeks, and then he'll go on a 3-week run where he gets like 500 yards in those 3 weeks, and that's just kind of what he's been for us. Also, now we're kind of at that midway point in the season. I've kind of stamped the midway point at the 7-game mark, because even though it's a 12-game regular season, you at this point are expecting to play more than 12 games. You're expecting to play 13, 14, maybe even 15 if you win a playoff game. But conference championship is the expectation. Obviously, at the very least, we're making a bowl game. So I kind of stamped the midway point at the 7-game mark, just so we can kind of get a true scope of the halfway mark of the stats, instead of just saying, oh, the 6-game mark is the halfway, and then you go and play another 8 games. So we're at the halfway point. We'll have a bye week. We'll kind of see what the top 25 is. We still have another tough non-conference opponent that we're kind of excited for. Going to be taking on Missouri at some point. We'll take a peek at the stats. We'll kind of take a peek at what everything's looking like. But as of right now, everything is going at or past what I had expected it to be. I would have said that at this point in the season, I'd hope we're 6-1. Our only losses to Notre Dame, and I would have hoped that Notre Dame game would have been close. That's exactly what it's been. And even though the conference has been kind of delivering a little bit, so yeah, our next game is going to be against Missouri. Missouri did just take a loss to Alabama, but they are a ranked team. Like I said, the schedule was not going to be an easy one. Notre Dame, Missouri, taking on tougher opponents, UCLA as well. Scatia playing an amazing start to his season, as 20 touchdowns to 2 picks. You can see the running game. Torrance is only averaging 3.8, but I mean, it's been a good 3.8. I feel like, I don't know. It's just, it feels like he's doing better than what the stats are saying from an average yards per carry, because like I said, he'll just have a first half that's just so forgettable, and then he'll just turn things on in the key moments. And, defense, I would like to see a little bit more on the turnover side of things. 5 interceptions, but, we've only had to kick 3 field goals. That's kind of crazy, but, we're going to get some extra extended cut of this one. We're going to start off later in the 3rd quarter. How about 16-14? Starting with Scatia, 3rd down and 2. He's going to take a shot, and there it is! That's going to be a 53-yard touchdown, and Carruthers lined up out wide and beat his man. And that is such a great utility piece to have for an offense where you can throw your running back out wide and he'll go and beat a cornerback on a go route. That is such an asset to have, as it's going to be a 3 and out on defense for us. We're up by 9. That's going to be a crazy tight window grab. 4th quarter upon us. Scatia throwing. That's caught Paul Campbell wide open. Just the safety blanket for this team in between the zones. Play action. Scatia, little shovel pass, and look at that. I mean, he's throwing from all kinds of angles and all kinds of spots in the field, as there goes Storm Torrance for the 1st down. And there you go, 4th quarter Storm Torrance with the carry, as he's going to get it to a 2-yard gain. 3rd down and 3. It's a quick drop for Scatia. He's got time, just 3-man rush, and he's going to have it short of the end zone. It was an open man. I think Dakota Stevens had a chance at it, but Just kind of short hop that one, but we'll take the field goal. 12-point game as Missouri. We took a lot of time on that drive. Just 6 minutes to play now as Missouri down by 2 touchdowns, needing to put the ball in the end zone quickly, but we are taking care of business against an SEC opponent. Sacked by Burnett, and that's going to be his third of the game as he throws middle. That's going to be incomplete. 4th and 14. Throwing, needing a big play here. 3-man rush. We drop a lot in coverage as he's going to throw it deep. That's going to be knocked away, and we take over. And look at what San Jose State is doing to an SEC opponent. 2nd down and 1. Play action Scatia. He's going to roll into pressure. 3rd down and 10 to the 38-yard line, kind of on the bubble of field goal range now, as Scacia, he's going to take another sack, as that's going to hurt, but we're not going to get a field goal there. At least if there's a positive, we're running out that clock, because just Missouri can't do anything on our defense right now. Pressure gets in, as on 4th and 16, he's going to come a yard short, and that is going to result in us having the football again. 2-minute warning has hit, and an opportunity to come out here and beat an SEC opponent by 2 scores. We are going to get stopped, but 4th down and 9, kick that field goal. It is good, 29-14, as Missouri has just a minute and a half, 1 timeout. 3rd and 11, as he's gonna go and get pressured. That ball's gonna be caught, but it's still 4th and 5 at the 18-yard line. Throwing middle, that's gonna be caught. There you go, Missouri. If you have a miracle in you, you can go put something together, but you need an onside kick, as that's gonna be caught. On the run he goes for a nice little game, but you're under 55 seconds to play. 42-yard line, you're caught there, and that's gonna be another gain of 12, but now down to 30 seconds to play, as you're gonna go. That should have been intercepted, as 4th down and 6, 28 seconds, and down he goes. The 6th sack of the game ends it. San Jose State takes care of Missouri pretty comfortably, and that's what you really want to see. Missouri goes and puts up just 200 yards of offense, negative 11 yards. Obviously, that is going to count for sack yardage too. We had a lot of sacks, but that's an amazing defensive performance. Scacia, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and it's just everything you want to see from this team. Torrance, I mean, not a great game, 2.6 a carry, but I mean, when your defense, like I said earlier on, if you're going and allowing 20 points or less, I think we can beat anybody. I think this team is offensively good enough to beat anybody if you're allowing 20 points or less. Caruthers, how about another 100-yard game from our number 2 running back in the receiving game? Burnett, 3 sacks. As a team, like I said, 6 sacks total. Amazing job, and that's got to give us some credibility there. Close matchup against Notre Dame, and then going out and thoroughly taking care of an SEC-ranked opponent. This is a team that now has a bit more of a resume. I mean, UCLA beat them. Colorado State beat them. You know, we'll be taking on Boise State. We'll see if we could beat them. But, you know, Missouri beat them. And then that only loss being a tough loss to Notre Dame. So I think the resume is at least strong enough to put us in a spot where if we win the conference championship, we can at least snag that 12-seed spot. But maybe we climb high enough to where we don't need to. I don't know how high they'll rank a team like San Jose State. I'm hoping we can get into the top 10. Maybe if we run the table. Still a really optimistic view to say, like, if we run the table, you know, 11-1 would be awesome. But I'm hoping 10 wins was the goal in the regular season. And then if we can win that conference championship to slide into the playoffs. But if we go 11-1, we should be able to make it. And, you know, we are in position to where I'm with the way this team is looking, I don't think that's off the table. Not just because it's, you know, record-wise possible, but, like, I think we're playing good enough to where we could be 11-1. We could be 12-1 if we win the conference championship. And depending on how the top 25 falls off, could we be in position to get a first-round bye? Like, is that off the table? Will they rank us that high? I think our opponents, the Mountain West, has overachieved this year, so I think it's possible. So we'll move on to our next game, and, you know, we'll see that we have our first set of commits. And, you know, it took us a while to get there, but a bunch of 3-stars starting to see the vision here, seeing that we are a team that is to be taken seriously. We're up to number 16 in the polls. Couple of teams dropping below. Utah lost, Florida State lost, Ohio State lost. All those teams were top 10. And how about another matchup? A 5-2 New Mexico team. Like, again, the Mountain West is strong this year. Every team we're playing is, you know, 1 or 2 loss. So at this point, I think that it's hard to deny what we are doing, because it's not like we're just playing close games against all these guys. We are thoroughly beating these teams. It's 33-14, 5.5 to go, and a touchdown pass from Scacia. And that is going to give us a 40-14 lead and a 4th down conversion. Not going to happen for them. Scacia on a read option. I would prefer us not to run the football with Scacia up by, you know, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. You know, I prefer to just hand the football off, or or let him throw it from a clean pocket. That's not a clean pocket, though. He's getting sacked there. And now it's going to be a long field goal try. I guess why not see if your kicker can hit from here, and he can. That's a nice one, as it's going to be 43-14. 3 minutes to play, as that's a wide open man for New Mexico, and they're going to see if they can get some garbage time stuff. That's a great grab. Like, that's really impressive. 2-minute warning has hit, as they're going to go inside the 5, looking to rack up some points here, maybe give themselves a little bit of confidence. He's going to tuck, he's going to run it, he's got the touchdown, and they are going to kick the onside, and that's going to be picked up by New Mexico. So I don't anticipate a comeback, still down by 3 scores, but you know, a touchdown. They scoop up the onside kick, and now with a minute to play, 3rd and 17, going to get stopped. 4th down and 11, under a minute to play. He is got time. He's going to let it fly, and that's going to be caught. They're hanging on to some tough balls here, but you know, down by 22, he breaks a tackle and gets a big 35-yarder to get a 1st and goal. End zone. That's caught for a touchdown. That's a great throw, too. There's some nice plays here, but the 2-point conversion to set them up. It is going to end up being a 2-score game, 14-point lead, but San Jose State scoops up this onside kick, and even though the score looks a lot closer than it should have, I mean, they put up 22 of their 29 points in the 4th quarter. Yeah, I think you seen the game for yourself to know it wasn't that close, but we let him hang around a little bit. 400 yards of offense. Scatia, how about another 5 touchdowns through the air? That's another game on the season where he's done that, another 300-plus yards. And the run game, again, did nothing. You know, we were going to have games like this. I said at the beginning of the season, probably just going to put a lot on the hands of Scatia. We're going to have running games like that. And Torrance had 2 touchdowns through the air. You know, southward, another 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns for him. And the team now sits here seeing if we can maybe climb into the top 10. I think it's like, I'm really impressed with what the Mountain West has done this year. And, you know, we'll eventually get into that Boise State matchup. Boise State's doing good. Spoiler alert there, I guess I'll say. But it's been a tough schedule, I think, relative to what you typically see a non-power school play. I think we've played about as tough as a schedule as you could play for a team not in the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12 type of conference. And, you know, I'm going to explore, you know, what the conference could potentially be in the coming years, because I do think that there's going to be a point in time in which, could be this year, where we outgrow the Mountain West and we're going to want to move up, but like the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore, and the natural, you know, team or natural place for us to go would be the Pac-12, but it doesn't exist. And, you know, I'm not going to do none of this nonsense like put us in the ACC. You will not see no stupid stuff like Stanford and Cal being along the Atlantic coast, because that is just absolutely ridiculous. So I'll figure out that stuff kind of in the offseason, also depending on how we finish out this season. I mean, we could just go and stink it up the last couple of weeks and make all of this kind of pointless, but kind of riding what we're projected to do at this point in time, and I really think playoffs could be in our future. But, you know, let's get into these last couple of games and try to see if we can finish out this season strong. We do have some commits as well as we get to the first college football playoff poll. We are number 10 in the nation. So, I mean, you see where our where we're ranked around, like we're at Georgia and all these other teams, Michigan, Ohio State, all these teams right next to us, but things are looking a little difficult right now because an interception just got thrown by Brett Scatia, and it's against UNLV. UNLV is one of the better teams in the conference every single year. It's 21-21, but we get it right back, intercepted, and we are taking the football right back, and the defense comes up with a monster play. Scatia play action, and he's gonna throw that. Could have been intercepted too. 3rd down and 10. Scatia, middle, broken up. 4th down and 10. We're going to have to pump the football away, but it's 21-21. And this would not be the time to come out here and, you know, stumble. You know, we're number 10 in the nation. We cannot lose. If we lose this one, take us probably outside the top 20. I mean, it's going to take us down quite a bit and hurt our chances of maybe even going to the conference championship with how strong the conference has been this year. Scatia off the play action is getting sacked. It's a loss of 10, and now 2nd and 20. Scatia is going to get sacked again. 3 guys got in there, and it's 3rd and 27. Scatia underneath. just gotta concede, I guess, but the offensive line did a rough job on that drive. Just 3.5 minutes to play, and it's still a tie game, and UNLV's got it in pretty nice field position. 3rd down and 2, though. Defense can get up the field here, and they will. 4th down and 2. They punt it away and giving us back the football. There goes Storm Torrance with a big run, and Storm Torrance, there you go, 18 yards, and the play action Scacia has got it in the middle. That's going to be Paul Campbell, gets around a defender, and Campbell turning the corner to the 34-yard line. Now we're in field goal range, but still in the rain. It's going to be 50-plus yards if we get it stopped here, but Torrance gets us a lot closer. There you go, 3rd down and 3. Be huge to get it here, and there we go, Storm Torrance with the first down, and he's fighting ahead, 4th quarter. Storm Torrance just running it better than he does in the first 3 quarters combined. I don't know how he just turns on a switch every time when we get to the 4th quarter as time has run out. Last second, field goal is good, and even though it was scary at the end, we survive, and that's what a good team will do. They'll win the games that they should. They'll, pull games out that maybe they shouldn't. I can say that this game definitely could have went either way, and I just, good that we got out of here. Good that we escaped with the victory. You need a little luck on your side sometimes, and sometimes when you're playing maybe not up to standard, you got to kind of find a way, get the job done. Paul Campbell, 91 yards at a touchdown. Big day for him. Paul Campbell's had a really nice year. I mean, I feel like every time I get to the end of the game, I got to say, like, man, Paul Campbell did a lot more for us than maybe what he gets credit for doing. But now at 9-1 in the season, it is going to be just 2 games away from locking up the conference championship slot and locking up a potential top 10 slot in the polls going into conference championship weekend. We take on Wyoming and Boise State. Boise State, really good. Wyoming, it's a easier game to end the season, won't overlook them, but Boise State is still a massive one to get through. Recruiting is basically kind of set in stone. There isn't a crazy amount to get through. We're kind of just coasting through, spreading our points out, spreading them around, and we're looking pretty good. So I think we're ready to take on Boise State. Conference championship implications here, as we got some commits beforehand, and like I said, recruiting has gone pretty comfortably for us. And quick little peek, that win did knock us down because it was a close one. We're down to 12, but still 9-1, taking on an 8-1 Boise State team. 8-1 versus 9-1. If we lose this game, I think we actually would get knocked out of the conference championship, because even though we have a tiebreaker over Colorado State, there is also tiebreakers that go with Boise State beating us. And I think the conference championship, if we lose this game, would be Boise State, Colorado State, because Colorado State, I think, handed Boise State their only loss. It's one of those things where we all kind of just have a win over each other. So, we're in the 4th quarter now, 21-17, as we need this win bad. Torrance gets it on the ground, play action now on 2nd and 1, as it's going to be a sack, and that's going to be brutal. First sack of the game for Boise State comes out of big time, and the second one is even bigger. How about that for Boise State's pass rush? As they take the football over with 8 to go, San Jose State's defense needs to come up with a big play here, as they are in enemy territory already. 3rd down and 3. Here's where we need that big play. Dropping to throw it. They go outside, and that was almost a pick, but we get the stop. But that could have been a pick 6, as at least we'll take over. Torrance making them difficult to bring them down. 2nd down and 2. Hand it back off to him. Gets a block on the outside. Torrance gets the first down. There you go. 2nd down and 5. Now we go to the air. He's got a man open underneath. Turn it upfield. There you go for another first down. All right. Offense moving the football. Kind of stabilizing things here. Get some clock run down. And that's going to be a nice run for Torrance for another double-digit yard gain. 3rd down and 9, though we jump ahead. Carruthers on the screen. He's going to get it shy. 4th down and 2 at the 35. They're going to go for it. Bold call. Going for it on 4th and 2. And I don't know about the play call. You went with a jet sweep and didn't get it. And now Boise State, they could have tried a 50-plus yard field goal to make it a 7-point game. They wanted to go for the dagger. I don't fault the decision. I fault the play call there, as now Boise State could potentially win this game with a touchdown, but the sack there is going to back him up. 4th down and 4 as he's throwing middle. He's got it for the first down. And now just 50 yards away from stunning us. 1:15 to play as he throws for a 15-yarder. And now 1st and 10. 1:10 to go. Check down underneath. He gets out of bounds, but speeds ahead for 7. now we jump to 3rd and 1 as he's throwing. He's going to try to tuck and run for it, but he gets brought down. 4th down and 6, 40 seconds to go. He's rolling, he's throwing, but he's got it into the red zone. This game continues. 30 seconds to play. 2nd and 10. He gets brought down. 20 seconds. 3rd and 17. Pressure. Throws it away. It's 4th and 17. This is your game right here. 17 seconds to go. He's looking. He's thrown for the end zone. It's intercepted. And San Jose State survives in the dramatic fashion. Defense was the big story in the 4th quarter on both sides. No points in the 4th quarter on either side. But the defense of San Jose State, they let Boise drive down. They got all the way to the red zone, but they bent down when they needed to, got the sack, and then forced an interception. My heart stopped for a second when he floated that ball all the way to the end zone, but one-on-one, our guy won, and we win, and we're going to a conference championship for the 2nd straight year. And with 1 game left on the season against a lot more comfortable of an opponent, not an 8-1 team, not UNLV, not Colorado State, not Missouri, Notre Dame. You know, I get to breathe a little bit. But 10-1 on the season is massive. Once again, late in the season, recruiting doesn't really have much to show, as we got a couple of commits, so it freed us some points for us. But you know, this recruiting class has just kind of been pretty solid. We've gotten, you know, some competition on the 4 stars. We lost them. We got some. You know, I said I wanted out of the 5 that we had on the board to get 2. Doing fine there. So we don't really have a lot to show, but it just comes down to we win our final game, conference championship, potential top 10 ranking, and 1 win away from a college football playoff appearance. We lose this game, college football playoffs is not gone. We'd still have to win the conference championship and hope we can slide in at that 12 seed. But right now, we're eyeing a top 4 seed. We're eyeing a 1st round bye if we can win these last 2 games, and some other stuff can go our way. But we'll see how things are looking when it comes to the top 25 rankings as we jump back up to 10. And it's a really close race. Oklahoma loses, which helps us out, you know, but we're really fighting for that top seed. Like, I think it's possible for us to go and snag a top 4 seed, but Wyoming here, it's actually a little bit closer. 3-8 Wyoming, as it's 42-28 here to start the 4th quarter, as Wyoming gonna throw the football out of bounds. 4th down, they punt it to us as, you know, we hand things off, and Torrance is going to get a short game. 3rd down and 2 at 8.5 to play as Scatia will throw. Middle, that's knocked away. And Wyoming, if they can put some points up on the board here, can give us a bit of a scare, and that's going to be a big run. And he's going to get himself 15 yards. And now 2nd down and 8. Stopped in the backfield. That's a big stop. And now 3rd and 9. They got a long way to go here. And he's going to get sacked. Burnett gets him. And that's huge. 4th and 20. Needing a big play here. This could be it. He's going to float one deep. It's 1-on-1. It's incomplete. And we take over a great field position. Quick pass out. No one was near him. We'll take the 4 yards to get to 3rd down and 2. Torrance has it. 1st down. And we're moving the chains now at the 20-yard line. 3rd down and 4. Scatia. He's going to go with a wide open man in between the zone coverages. That's going to be southward inside the 10. Goal to go. He's going to go outside. Torrance for the touchdown. And there we go. I think we're riding ourselves to an 11-1 record because Wyoming have their chance. If they went and scored that last drive, cut it to a 7-point game, we would have been scared, but the defense came up with the stop. We punched it in for a touchdown. 49 points put up in the final game of the season. We win it. 11-1 on the season. Conference championship in front of us. We put up 550 yards. Scatia with another 5-touchdown day. About 450 yards to go along with it. Threw an interception, but when you put up production like that, I think we're going to be okay. He also ran for a touchdown, so 6 total touchdowns on the day. It caps off a regular season in which we were one of the best passing offenses, one of the highest scoring teams. I mean, how many times when we, you know, got through the end of these games did you see us put up 30, 40 points, multiple 5-touchdown games from Scatia? I think he had 3 games this season where he threw for 5 touchdowns, and I mean, just everything you would have expected from us on offense. Once again, pretty quick little run through on the recruiting, since we don't have a whole lot to really go through. Kind of everything's set in stone, especially when you get to the end of the season. You're just kind of setting the points. Wait until you get to the offseason. Not going to be an eventful offseason with recruiting unless the transfer portal gives us something to really get excited about. But conference championship, we're going to be taking on, you know, most likely Colorado State if they kind of took care of business in their closing games of the season. But it'll be for a trip to the postseason, as we are number 10 in the nation. And, you know, looking at who's around us, I mean, we're right ahead of Oregon. Like, that's crazy. And it will be Colorado State. We go down to 11 by the time conference championship weekend hits, but taking on Colorado State. How about we get the extended cut here for games like this? We'll get the full second half for you, as Colorado State is down by 3. We got the football 17-14, as that's Paul Campbell for the first down. Scacia is going to throw. Dart is going to have it, and it's a touchdown for Ricardo Southward. A dart up the seam, has it for a 2-score lead, and that's how you start the second half. Just coming out slinging on fire right there. 3rd down and inches for Colorado State, who's going to have their pass broken up. 4th and inches. They're going to punt it. Definitely could have went for it there, but they're going to play it safe. And I don't know if that's kind of the move here, because Storm Torrance, he's running well. How about 11 carries for 105, and he's still rumbling for more yardage. Storm Torrance, I think, put up his best performance right now in saving it for the conference championship. And there goes Caruthers for a first down. That's not the type of run you expect from a 5'8", 170-pound back to run between the tackles like that, as that's going to be a sack. 3rd and 17. Scacia got a clean pocket, firing over the middle, and there he is, Ricardo Southward again. That's a nice play. Goal to go, and a touchdown. DeMarco Lane, he's been pretty quiet in this video, but a touchdown there. 3rd quarter winding down. It's 31-14, and we are trying to make a statement here and show that we are not only deserving of being in the playoffs, but we are the clear best team in this conference, as that's going to be a play broken up. 4th and 12. You got to go for it. You're down by 3 scores. They're flying up top. That's going to be caught, and okay, we're not done yet. Touchdown. Colorado State splits the defense on that throw. That's a nice play, but it's still a 10-point deficit for them to try to overcome. And Scacia has the football back, and he is going to not go 3 and out because he's got the first down there. He's got 4 touchdowns. I mean, could he be thrown for another 5-touchdown day? As there he goes. That's Caruthers for the first down. And the run game playing phenomenally this game. And there's Paul Campbell, gets a blocked outfield. Paul Campbell, he's not the fastest guy, but he gets it down to the 12-yard line. And now inside the 10, touchdown. Storm Torrance has it, and we're back up by 17, and we're running away with the conference championship and trying to run ourselves all the way to the playoffs. One more stop can probably end this game for good and get any last bit of hope Colorado State has out of them, but they're going to try to drive down the field here. They are in our territory, 40-yard line, 2nd and inches, dropping the throw, outside, caught, turning it upfield to the 30-yard line. And to be honest, I'm not even sweating it if we allow a score. I know we got an offense who's firing on all cylinders, coming back out there on the field with the football, and they're going to put this game away. But Colorado State, to cut it down to a 10-point game, throws it outside, incomplete. It's 4th and goal from the 3, as this is your game here. He's going to throw. He's got nowhere to go. He's sacked. And that's your game. They take the football back. They run it out. 38-21, and a thorough win in the second half where we outscore them 21-7 and put up 500 yards of offense, because not only was Brett Scacia clicking, 4 touchdowns, another 300-yard day. How about Storm Torrance literally having his best game in the conference championship, 147 yards. Nakua had maybe his biggest game of the year too, 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the defense did their job, 2 sacks, a couple of tackles for loss, get a couple of commits here. And at 12-1 on the season, we're gonna hope the committee doesn't, you know, mess with us a little bit. We've earned our spot. We deserve to be in the playoffs. And as we go through, DJ Lagway wins Heisman Trophy, and he's at TCU. That's pretty interesting, but we'll kind of see the important stuff here as we have made the playoffs. It will not be a first-round bye, so we will not have that top 4 seed, but we do get the 12 spot. It's going to be against Penn State on the road. Winner takes on the Heisman winning DJ Lagway and TCU as we start things off. First play of the second half, and it's Ricardo Southward, 77 yards. Touchdown. I hopped in the first play of the second half, and that's one of the biggest plays of the season, and the Penn State crowd is not believing what they're seeing, but you come out there swinging to start the half, and we're up 17-10 on Penn State, and we're holding our own, and we're coming out. We're heavy underdogs in this one. Pretty sure if we had a betting line for this game, we'd probably be double-digit underdogs, regardless of who we have on our team. It's Penn State. It's at home for them. They are the favorites, but we are coming to fight this game. 3rd and 17. He's going to throw it deep. He got hit as he was throwing, but that ball flies up in the air, and because he got hit as he was throwing, I think that's what costed him. I think that would have been a touchdown, but the defensive line hustling to get in there to disrupt that throw, make him throw it a little bit shorter. Now, when we get the football on offense, a holding penalty is going to set us back, but 2nd down and 17, Scacia, he's rolling. He's going to have to throw it away. He gets the football out. It's 3rd and 17, though, as Scacia will throw underneath. We'll just kind of concede possession there, punt it back to him. Scacia's had an awesome day. 2 touchdowns, no picks, 230 yards on the day, as there goes Penn State on the outside. Caught, turning upfield. That's a quick burst of speed, and he's not going to be caught, is he? He's going to go all the way up the sidelines at the pylon. Touchdown! An incredible speed to just go and turn a little play into a 73-yard touchdown, but Scacia is not going to be outdone. Big play to start our drive. 39-yard line, 5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Torrance has it to a 3-yard gain. Torrance has not had a good day, but it has been typical Storm Torrance stuff. He's going to be quiet for the first half. He's going to be quiet maybe even in the 3rd quarter, but I expect him to turn it on like he's done all year. And in the late stages of the game when you need it most, and there he is in the passing game. To the 10-yard line we go. 2nd down and 8. There it goes. Carruthers to the outside. Touchdown! And we get it done on the ground. We respond, and that is huge for us to respond to that big play that could have demoralized this team, as a draw play on 3rd and 4 is going to get Penn State the first down, and it's already been an action-packed 3rd quarter as they run it again. That's going to be a big lane opened up. Run game's been quiet on both sides, but it's picking up for Penn State now. Bubble screen outside. Got nice blocks from the receivers. He's going to get 12 to the 35-yard line. Time is running down in this 3rd quarter. Curl route got it for the first. Another 12-yard gain. Last play potentially of this 3rd quarter. He's going to take a shot over the top of the defense, and that's going to be caught down to the 2. We'll kick off the 4th quarter with goal to go. 1st down and goal. It's caught, and he's going to get it down to the 1. And nice job getting him down, but it's still going to be hard to stop him. Touchdown. They punch it in. And that's going to be a tie game as we go. Liao with the blocking out front. The fullback got down there and picks up a nice gain. A rare toss play out, and there goes Storm Torrance, and I guess they weren't expecting that one. We'll take 6 yards on a 1st down. Drop in to throw. Quick drop. That's going to be caught underneath. Paul Campbell got it. And that's going to be 7. To midfield we go. 2nd down and 3. Little sweep, and Southward can't get anywhere. Lost 1. And now 3rd down and 4. Scacia pressure. It's a sack. And that drive was looking promising. But now we're going to try to derail the Penn State drive with a sack of our own. 3rd down and 12. He's going to have to step up. He's running it. Nowhere to go. 3 and out, and we'll take it right back at midfield. So we lost nothing there, as now 3rd down and 3 will approach. Don't want to go 3 and out on this side of things. Scacia with time. He's got to find somebody open, and he does. He hangs on, and that's going to be DeMarco Lane trying to close his career off with a playoff victory. And Scacia goes down. Loss of 7. 2 minutes to play. As Scacia goes down again, and we're knocked out of field goal range. We were in there. We need to get those 14 yards back, but we're not going to. And we're going to have to punt this football away. And the kick is going to sail through the end zone. And it's going to be Penn State with the football, 80 yards of field in front of them. They just need to get into field goal range, though. Nice job swatting that ball away. 3rd down and 10. As they're going to step up. They're going to run it. This time he's got the 1st down and slides ahead for 13. 1:25 to go. Screen out. Is going to be blown up. The defense does a great job. 4-yard loss. 1:10 to play. He's got a long way to go. A 3rd down. And it gets knocked away. The defense gets the stop. Scacia, it's your time to shine. Can you put up a big play? 3rd down and 10. They hand it off, and we're going to concede possession there. We almost threw a pick, but we'll take that as there's a flag down. We'll just try to see if we can get this to overtime and try to continue this exciting game It's going to be a roughing the passer, though, and I don't think overtime might be in our future at this point. 48-yard line, 30 seconds to play. They have no timeouts. They're taking a shot up top. It's caught! And at the 25-yard line, they can run out this clock. They're going to hand it off, gets to the edge, and they're going to score! Touchdown, Penn State! And Scatia, do you have something crazy in you? 24 seconds to play in this playoff game kickoff. We're going to have it at about the 19-yard line. 81 yards of field in front of us. Scatia, first play, in the face of pressure. He delivers! DeMarco Lane! He's getting free! Touchdown! Are you kidding me? DeMarco Lane! 81 yards on the first play of the drive. And this team, we're going for the win. We're going for it all. 2-point conversion for the win to win a playoff game here. That's going to be Paul Campbell in motion. Couple of tight ends in the package. Scatia, he's going to throw. It's a quick pass designed for Campbell, but the defense got there in time. And it's going to be no good. 31-30 onside kick is going to be jumped on. It's barely recovered. And we're going to lose 31-30, and a miracle almost just went in our favor. Scatia, so close. That is unbelievable. I mean, that was a great play by the defense on that 2-point conversion. The play call there, you move Campbell in motion, you try to catch the defense off, see if you can get him in the flats. They ran man coverage. You were hoping maybe it took them a couple extra moments to get out there, but no. And even then, you were hoping maybe Campbell could break the tackle. Didn't happen either. They get the stop. So play call wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't awful. And going for 2 there, you got nothing to lose. I don't fault them for going for 2, especially with the fact that Penn State objectively is just a more talented roster than us. Try to steal it. Oddly, of all the players to make All-American was Storm Torrance. I mean, he had a nice year. I wouldn't say he had an All-American year, but hey, he's an All-American, so I guess we'll take that. But that's so heartbreaking. Carruthers made first team all-freshman team, so, you know, we'll take that. But I mean, an 81-yard touchdown. I said DeMarco Lane throughout this entire video. It's like, at any point, DeMarco Lane's going to do something, because every video, DeMarco Lane does something. And even though he may not put up the craziest numbers, even though it's you know, he'll fall asleep for a couple of games and then he'll explode. DeMarco Lane, he capped his career off with the biggest play of his career and almost helped us steal a playoff victory. But I think, even though we lost in round 1, I think this team showed exactly what they can be, how dangerous they can be, how good they can be. And even though Brett Scacia is going to be most likely moving on, man, like, our only 2 losses on the year, a 3-pointer on the road at Notre Dame, and a play where we were basically just 2 yards away from taking out Penn State. I mean, that is about as good of a season as we really could have hoped for. Scacia, in his final year, how about 4,200 yards, 44 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. He ups his touchdowns by 6, lowers his interceptions by 3, similar completion percentage, similar yards per attempt. Overall, a couple hundred less yards. He did, you know, sit the bench for like 1 fourth quarter, have some other spots where he kind of sat for a little bit. We also ran the football a little bit more. I mean, Storm Torrance, 700, basically 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's a nice season. I wouldn't say All-American season, if you're also counting the fact that he had 5 touchdowns through the air. So in total, he had about 950 yards and 12 touchdowns all-purpose. Pretty impressive, to be honest, but I wouldn't say All-American. Carruthers, though, look at that. I mean, how about 430 yards, 5 touchdowns? We had great contributions from our receivers. Southward breakout year for him, and, you know, he's going to be here for the future, and whatever our next quarterback is going to be, he's going to be able to help him out. Nakua did have a kind of a step back year, but, you know, he's making space for some of the other playmakers that we had, and Paul Campbell being one of them to really have a big year for himself. And, you know, Burnett goes and gets 12 sacks. Pass coverage was pretty nice at times. I'm still a little heartbroken over that playoff game, but I'm proud that they accomplished what they did. I would have loved to see Scacia versus DJ Lagway in the playoffs. That would have been awesome, but not to be. And as much as he definitely deserved like a playoff win in his career, not going to happen. DeMarco Lynn, I mean, it was his least productive season, but I mean, just consistent 700 yards. Paul Campbell, I mean, look at him. I mean, big year for him to come out here, 60 grabs for 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. Nakua, like I said, took a bit of a step back. I mean, he wasn't the deep bomb threat that he was in his previous year. Had, a little bit more on the catch side of things, but not as many yards. Jalen Jones took a big step back in terms of sacks, but he was still a really good player for us. The sack production is, it can be a little volatile at sometimes. But San Jose State ended up with the number 3 overall passing attack and pretty high up there rushing. Points per game, I mean, 33 points per game. Up there, like a top 10 points per game type of team. Touchdown passes, TCU and San Jose State. So like I said, Lagway versus Scatia would have been something to really get excited about. That would have been an absolute shootout. But one of the better rushing defenses in the country, partially because of the fact that, when we were up by 20 points against a lot of these Mountain West teams, they had to throw against us. So last year we were really high up there in terms of sacks. This year, a little bit lower, but still, towards the top of the nation. And third down, I mean, how about that? Number 1 team on third down, only team to have 50% plus on third down in the entire nation. And on top of that, also one of the best fourth down team. The benefits of having Scatia be that efficient is just awesome. I mean, red zone teams. I mean, you look at the stats for passing game, basically, it's just us and TCU at the top. We replicate our record 12-2 both years, but you definitely know this year was a lot better than it was last year. Penn State made it all the way to the semifinals. They lost to Texas A&M. Texas A&M ends up winning the whole thing. And when we go to players leaving, like I said before, got to reiterate just in case anyone doesn't know, we cannot convince people to stay. We let them walk. That's what makes this difficult. If a player like Brett Scatia especially, there's no chance he would ever stay in college. Like, the only chance he would ever stay in college is if he wanted to like transfer and go to a bigger school. But like, he would never just sit here and play another year at San Jose State. He's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. Obviously, he's leaving. We're losing some other players. Quentin Winton, one of those cornerstone pieces that we got alongside Scatia, he's going to be gone too. I think Winton can be a first-round pick. He probably should be. But 2 guys going to the NFL. Winton will be a second-round pick. Scatia went first round. You could probably assume Scatia went top 5 in the draft. But a lot of things are going to be changing this season, because not only are we going to have a new quarterback, we're going to be shuffling some things around, because the philosophy of the team is going to have to change a little bit. We can't just say, here, Scatia, take the ball and save us. We're going to have to do some other stuff to try to make this team flow on offense. We don't have the blessing of having a top quarterback in the nation to do that anymore. We lost one of our best guards who was incredible. The offensive line was awesome all year. And then on top of that, we're going to be taking a step up in competition. I talked about conference. I said if we showed that we were worthy, we were going to make some conference adjustments. We're going to do that. We'll get to that after recruiting. But there's not going to be a lot to show for recruiting, because we already got so many players in our class, and basically we're not even going to be able to use all of our points, and we're just going to kind of throw 50s on the guys that we have here, and we're basically in position to get like all of them. I mean, there's not going to be a lot to show for recruiting, and we're going to go check at the transfer portal. I'm really hoping there's a quarterback there that we can take a peek at. I don't know if I'm in love with the quarterbacks that we have currently on the roster. Obviously, you're not going to love any of them as much as Scatia, but like, I don't know if there's a single guy on the roster at this point in time where I'm confident in being the starter. So I'm going to hope. I freed up some spots here, because I do like to keep some of the players that don't commit to me on the board, just to kind of see what they are, see what I missed out on. But we cleared up some spots on the board, got it down to 30. We're going to throw some players on the transfer portal out there and see what we have to potentially look at. So the top players in the transfer portal for us, there wasn't a lot of interest that we drew. Not as much as previous years where we had some 4-stars be interested, but we did have one quarterback to take a look at, and that is going to be Trent Toppins. And he is not only a 3-star prospect as a transfer portal player, but he is a freshman. So I think that there's something to be excited about there. Obviously transfer portal players don't get development, which stinks, but we're going to still have the ability to look at a guy like him and if we could get him on the roster, he'll be able to compete for the starting job. And, you know, he's still got a lot of years left. This isn't like a guy who's a 1-year stopgap. I don't want a 1-year stopgap, obviously. You know, if I can get a guy who can start 2-3 years, I'd be happy. But, you know, he's not going to be the type of player that if we get him, he would be a 1-year stopgap. He would come in as either a redshirt freshman or a true sophomore. That's going to be at least, you know, sophomore, junior, senior year, unless he develops to be good enough to go to the NFL. Probably, I would imagine not, unless he has like elite dev type of a player, because he already lost a year of development. But we get a couple of players, and that's going to be a couple of offensive linemen there, 3 players to be on our board committing to us. And while that little chunk of recruiting in week 1 took, you know, a couple of minutes to get through, the rest of recruiting is very straightforward. We have a full board of 35 players, and even though there's some players that like have already committed, we just don't like need to fill out our board with 35 commits, because, you know, when you do that, you end up having to cut a lot of players. And, you know, I'd prefer to not have to cut like 20 players or 15 players or however many players when we get to that stage, because, you know, you end up having to cut some players that you at least have some hopes for. You at least want to be patient with some of your guys. The goal every year with recruiting is to get like 25 to 30 players and, you know, have to not cut that many. But all we have to do is just put the, you know, the hard sells on these guys, and we're not even going to end up using all of our points. We're just going to kind of run things as it is. We're looking pretty good for top end. Some of these other players, you know, we're battling for. We'll see if we end up getting them. But basically from here, we just kind of sim ahead, and it is what it is. If we get them, we get them. If not, we don't. We schedule the visits. We use up the points that we have, and we'll be on to next season, where I will show you what we're going to be doing for the conference. I'll show you what we're going to be doing for I guess quarterback situation. I'm probably going to have you guys help decide the quarterback spot, so stay tuned for that at the very least, to help me choose the quarterback for next season, because your guys' input will go a long way on that. Because if you want to see a certain player, I don't think there's going to be an out and out, this is the clear quarterback. So it's going to kind of come down to who we prefer to see, and whoever you guys prefer to see might just be the quarterback of the future for this team. As you know, we're going to be only at the point next year where we're really going to start going for 4 stars a little bit more. So at least for right now, we don't have an out and out like blue chip quarterback prospect. So we did simulate all the weeks, and, you know, just kind of let things ride how it is. We get Trent Toppins, we get some of the other transfer portal players, we lost some of the transfer portal players, but here's the final overall recruiting class that we did end up with. Every year we end up with recruiting classes that kind of hover around top 50. This year though, how about top 40? 2 4-star prospects helped us out. I said the goal was 2 4-star prospects. We got 2. 39th in the country. Very respectable class. I still feel like that's very much kind of in line with what we should be able to accomplish. You know, I don't think that's really unrealistic for a team that especially has gone 12-2 straight seasons, made the playoffs. I think this is still like a very realistic trajectory for this team, and that's kind of ultimately what I'm trying to do with this dynasty, is to try to keep it realistic and not, you know, just stack us, you know, immediately. So we're going to take a look at what these guys' developments are. Always the fun part to see what we got here. And how about a star quarterback? There you go. Kindred, star quarterback. We got Sims, a star guard. So that's 2 stars on the board. We'll see if we got any elites. It's really hard to hit elites from 3-star prospects. Devolve, how about that? That's going to be a star there. How about Gaskin, star. Wooten, star. That's 5-star players. That's great to see. Impacts, an elite we missed out on. We missed out on an elite, which is unfortunate. So 2 of the players that we missed out on 4 stars were elites, but the 4 stars that we got were not elite. Toppins was nothing crazy, but here's what we're doing for the conference. I just recreated my own version of the Pac-12. I took the 4 best schools from the Mountain West: us, Boise State, Colorado State, and UNLV. Then I took 2 teams from other conferences that formerly had Pac-12. So the Big 12 had Arizona, Arizona State. I took them. ACC, Cal, Stanford, took them. Oregon State, Washington State. They just kind of stayed where they were. And then the Big 10 had UCLA, Washington, took them out. So I kind of created this mid-tier conference where there's a lot of nice schools, but no powerhouse schools. There's a lot of just even competition here. A lot of schools, all of them like 80 to 85 range. I think it's a very well-balanced conference, and it's 12 schools, conference championship, all that other stuff. So here is the quarterback situation. This is what you guys are going to help decide on. we got Washington, Glennon, Toppins. These are the three that are going to be rolling into next season as the potential QBs of the future for this team. Each one of them has their own strengths and weaknesses. One's a junior, one's a sophomore, one's a freshman. So Toppins is the lowest, Washington is the best, but they're 74 to 79. So here's Frederick Washington, a junior who does not have much room left to grow. He's a 79 overall. He's very much high floor, low ceiling, the best maybe overall wise, just plug and play option. Nicholas Glennon, kind of the middle ground in terms of the fact that he's close to maxed out, but is one thing that he still could get better at is accuracy. He's also a sophomore. But Toppins is the one I think intrigues me the most. He's a redshirt freshman, impact development with the most room to grow. His power still has 3 left to go, and his accuracy still has 4 left to go, plus he's a freshman. I think you guys are going to like Toppin more, and I think I'd be most inclined to play him. So if there isn't an overwhelming, if it was my decision, I'd pick Toppins. You guys let me know if you really feel strongly one way or another. But then we also have Kindred, who is a high dev player, star dev, who has an 8 out of 10 on his accuracy. Obviously, these are not guys who are going to play true freshman year, but I just wanted to see what maybe our potential future quarterback could be. So running back, I think it's going to be heavy on the run game this year. Caruthers, after making freshman All-American and having a great season as a number 2 back, is at 84 overall, has a lot of skill sets to love. He's not overly fast and, obviously not overly big, but him and Cyril Bland are going to have an opportunity to be a little duo here at running back. Bland is a unique person. I mean, his best attribute is he can be 10 out of 10 on the IQ, but we'll also see a little bit of Dave Leo, who had some carries last year, had some opportunities last year. There's also Stephen Byer, who is a star development as well. A lot of running backs who, all of them are playable, all of them are useful, but no one stands out as like 3 down back. Caruthers seems like a 3rd down back. Cyril Bland seems like that. Leo seems like a 2 down back. These other 2 guys seem like maybe 2 down backs. We're going to have a pretty big rotation there. Ricardo Southward coming back for another season, senior year, route runner. He's little, he's undersized, but he's talented, and he had himself a breakout season last year. He's basically fully maxed out, so he'll be our number 1. Our number 2, big jump from Bradley Joy. He's kind of hung around as our number 4 wide receiver the last 2 years, and had occasionally big performances, but he's now going to get his opportunity as an out-and-out starter, as our vertical threat for this team, and he's had some moments, like I said, but he's going to actually get a chance to be our guy. And then the number 3 receiver, it's probably going to be Oscar Ahmed. He's not stylistically the guy we would want. Another deep threat is not what we're looking for. I would have preferred maybe a bit more of a physical player to have a complementary skill set, but he brings the speed to this offense and could be the guy we go to really stretch the field. But we also have Conrad Wooten, who was a star development player. He's got some skills to him, not overly athletic, but he could be a nice route runner for us, smart player. Not a lot of juice on this receiving core is kind of what you're looking at, though, as Devolve 2, 85 speed, but star development route runner guy. This offense is gonna be odd. I don't know what to expect. This is a complete mixed bag, as the skill sets, I think overall wise, don't complement each other as much as they did last year. Paul Campbell, he graduated, so we're going to be turning things over to Dakota Stephen, who I think is pretty similar skill set to a Paul Campbell. Not a high ceiling player, but a guy who I think is just a reliable, solid possession tight end who can get the job done. And then for the future, maybe Demarius Humphrey, star development player, freshman redshirt, has a little bit of room to grow. Won't be crazy, but he'll probably be a future starting tight end for us down the line. I plan on making him the number 2. Left tackle, we're going to be, a little bit of a downgrade there. Guard, we lost Winton, but I think overall our guard situation, the interior offensive line, is just as good as it was last year, because how about Braden Maffei? Winton was a 91 overall, went to the NFL, and I guess we reloaded, because Maffei, 89 overall as a redshirt freshman, one of the biggest jumps we had in the offseason. what a player he is going to be. And I guess the right guard situation is just never going to be an issue for us in this dynasty. But the tackle situation worries me a little bit. D-line, we've had a lot of stopgap, a lot of 1 year, 2 year band-aids that will help us out. The system has done us wonders to make a lot of the guys that we get, very productive. But our edge rushing situation has constantly been filled out through the transfer portal. We don't really have that this year with a guy walking in day one being a starter, but we'll see how we can kind of fit these pieces together. I'm at least excited about our interior defensive line as we have developed that very nicely after having some transfer portal players. But Konatimu is one of those guys. I mean, he has just gotten better and better. He's a junior now. He's an 85 overall. He's still got a lot of, I think this is an NFL player by the time his career is done with us. I think he is a certified NFL player. I think can be a mid-round pick. We also have Fu, who's pretty good. Keenan Ring is going to be one of our potential edge rushers. Jaleel Bloom and Rico Childers in the middle gives us a lot of confidence at middle linebacker. Athletic, solid duo. The only edge rusher that is kind of set and squared away, Brian Mangum, who's been a long-term starter on this team and is going to probably be an NFL player as well. So we're going to be happy to have him there as a mainstay edge rusher. It's just whoever the number 2 is going to be an open competition. Cornerback, slowly but surely, has gotten so much better. And this guy right here, I mean, when we had him walk into the building with 99 speed, we knew he was going to be special with his athleticism and with his abilities. He had, 5 picks last year, and now he's probably going to be an NFL caliber player by the time his season is over. Jazario Kalu, I mean, talk about a player who at normal development, it's, there is a big difference in this game sometimes where players will have star development but low ceilings. This is a guy who had normal development, but he has such a high ceiling that just by playing as much as he has, he's just gotten so much better. And, very rarely do you get to see normal dev players get to the NFL, but, he might actually be one of those guys. So there's your roster for the next upcoming season. I don't know what to expect. You guys can let me know who should be playing at quarterback, who you want to see step up, who you want to see get opportunities. Quarterback, running back, a lot of open competition there. So let me know who you want to see be the guy there and what your expectations are for this season, how you felt about last season, how you feel about us, moving to a new conference, reforming the Pac-12. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. Let me know what you thought, obviously, and, everything, all the questions that I previously asked. And like, comment, and subscribe, as all this stuff is very helpful. And I will see you guys all in the next season, where I hope that this team can survive without Brett Scacia. I will see you guys all in the next one.